If you want to grow a big business, then today's episode is a must listen for you. We've got Rupesh Sanghavi on the show today, and he has built a significant sized business, and he's going to be teaching us how he did it and how you can do the same too. So welcome to another episode of the Brand Builder Show, and welcome to today's guest, Rupesh. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me, Ben. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you taking the time out. You sound like you could be a very busy man, so I do appreciate you taking time out, and I'm looking forward to learning lots from you today. Just to give us a bit of context so people can understand your background, your areas of expertise, could you catch us up on how your entrepreneurial journey has traveled so far?
Oh, sure, absolutely. It's been a phenomenal journey, one that I loved every bit of it so far. Started almost by as an accident in 2007 when I was searching for a book, college book at that, and stumbled upon an item that was selling for $40 on eBay, was selling for $1,600 on Amazon, and I grabbed it. I grabbed that book and sold it immediately for that price, and I couldn't be happier. It was a matter of scaling from that point on, and scaling we did. At some initial years, I always thought our business is changing every year. We have been through a lot of business changes as the marketplace changes and the landscape around what we do changes. So we have been at forefront of e-commerce, selling across the world, selling millions of items, millions of SKUs. We have 12 brands now, hundreds of people across multiple offices, 7 to 8 offices. So we have grown from where we started with selling one books, and thanks to e-commerce, that it has grown. I mean, we have grown with e-commerce, and now it has become. I mean, this is what as a company we do.
So you are like a holding company that owns these 12 different brands, and you
Correct.
operate that?
Absolutely. So we are a holding company or a parent group of companies that holds these 12 brands, which is relatively smaller portion of all we do. So our business is, I would say, think of us as a brand accelerator and brand aggregator. Brand accelerator in terms of brands or the that we don't own, but the ones that we help them develop their online presence through various means and through selling on the internet. So those are the brands that may not have a full-scale digital capacity to grow on their own, or may not have a volume. We help them grow without any upfront fees or any kind of service fees, absolutely zero, not even terms, condition, nothing, absolutely zero service fee. We just take brand at a whole, we acquire inventory at a wholesale value, and we sell it retail, and that's in that process we grow the brand.
Okay.
And
then
we have then the second circle is the 12 brands that we have acquired. So whenever we, like, after working with a brand as a reseller, if brand ever comes to a point where they would rather exit the business by selling it to a company that would take it to the next level, we are in line for that. So we find ways to grow. I mean, we find ways to acquire that brand and then grow under our own P&L, and that is how we have acquired 12 companies.
And these 12 brands, you've acquired them all?
Absolutely, we have acquired all of them, 100% equity ownership.
Yeah. But rather than starting the brands from scratch, you've bought existing brands.
Correct, yes. So we find it easier to grow through acquisition than building it from scratch.
Yeah, why is that?
It's matter of whether we want to do zero to focus our energy and resources on 0 to 1 or 1 to 10,
Mm.
and we would rather go for 1 to 10 than 0 to 1.
Yeah, that makes sense. In terms of the journey of that, then, so you were reselling products like on a wholesale basis for these brands, and then
Correct.
they decided they wanted to sell, and that's where you had that relationship with them, so were able to acquire them through that. Have I understood that correctly?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. So that must have exposed you to some potentially good deals.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, we are fortunate to have been working with over 1,000, closer to 1,500 brands across United States. Primarily, our vendors are based out of US. We have some international vendors,
Mm.
and I'm fortunate that I have personally participated in many trade shows, visiting various brands, and to me, trade shows are the landscape of creativity. I see so many unique products and exciting ideas. So yes, we have been exposed to many products across multiple categories.
And what sort of marketplaces do you sell those products on?
So our primary selling venue is Amazon,
Hmm.
which is the highest grossing venue. But other than Amazon, we sell across 90 plus marketplace in US and worldwide. Um,
Okay.
and so I'm sorry, I'm just putting. Okay,
That's
so
fine.
we sell across 90 plus marketplaces around US and worldwide, which would include we, Walmart, Sears, Wayfair, Target. There are multiple marketplaces that we sell across, and
Mm.
also we have 16 of our own websites. Where we sell for different vertical, for example, cute baby buy for baby products, peto cart for pet products, and so on. And then we have 12 brand website, the ones that we have acquired. So we sell across another 30 of our own websites as well.
Wow, amazing! That's quite some operation you've got going on there, and
Absolutely.
definitely lots of questions I want to ask off the back of
Sure.
that. Um, your yeah, lots of directions we could go in, but just initially on those, you mentioned Amazon. Is it just Amazon US or is it global that you sell?
Correct. So we sell across Amazon global, almost. I mean, even exotic Amazon. I would say, be it Saudi Arabia or Amazon
Mm.
Singapore or Amazon UAE, Turkey, you name it. We are
Yeah.
present across all Amazon. In fact, at one point and even now, we were so well known across Amazon global circle that like few months before Amazon launches in a new country, they reach out to us because the size of our catalog
Mm.
and our capacity to quickly ramp up that country
And
catalog.
you mentioned some. I like your terminology, exotic Amazon locations. That's good. Are there any of those that are particularly strong that you're particularly surprised by, or are they all much smaller than the US?
They're all significantly smaller than US. Even the second base is probably half the size of US.
Mm.
So they are all much smaller and kind of growing. Definitely, we grow with Amazon in the local market. One notable exception is that we have not been able to do well in China. I think there is Amazon China, but that is something has always eluded us.
Mm.
So other than China, I think we have done reasonably well with all Amazon growth
Mm.
to a different degree. But I mean, a word of caution that even though it's easy to think that I mean, like you would be able to take a successful products or a well-selling products from US to international. It's not that easy, not that fast. It takes time to build a brand across outside main Amazon, and also it takes some sort of investment in terms of localization of listings, in terms of reviews, in terms of inventory, logistics management, technology. All of it takes some time and some patience to develop Amazon International.
Yeah. My next question was going to be, what do you think are the main considerations for sellers looking to expand internationally? But you mentioned there obviously listings, inventory, the localization of both of those. Are there any specific challenges you can speak to that sellers need to be aware of? Obviously, getting a listing translated with keyword research done in the local marketplace would be one, and obviously getting inventory into the marketplace would be the other obvious ones. Are there any other things to consider?
One is, okay, this is, I'm doing experience sharing of, that one is, do not, I mean, it is, if do not make that naive mistake thinking Amazon, Google Translate or any kind of online translator will do the job.
Yeah.
That's a definite no-no. And even even when you do it, okay, even when you hire a translator, make sure, say hiring translator is kind of a little tricky. Make sure that you go, like one goes through a well-known agency or someone you trust. Upwork or any kind of a online um, marketplace for translation. I mean, I love Upwork and many other, but for translation, what we have realized is that there are a lot of translate people posing as a translator will use Google Translate and will give you the output. You don't know the language, and that is where we have been tricked few years ago. And so I hope nobody else gets tricked. Like I didn't think that, hey, like somebody from Upwork can use Google Translate, and actually, like, I mean, so that was a little bad experience. Learn from
Yeah.
it. So yeah, make sure that your translator comes from a reliable source. Essentially, is what I'm trying to get the message across.
Yeah. Do you find you have to create unique packaging or anything like that, say for Saudi Arabia, Singapore, China? I would imagine you. Like, what needs to be done for someone selling a product with English packaging into those countries?
So I mean, there are some there are some countries where they require a seller to have a unique packaging, or you can put a little translation book inside the box, and that does the trick. Most part, I mean, people shopping, I mean, see, if it's not required, we don't do it, because we expect that as long as we are selling the same product as it is listed on uh, listed on Amazon or local website, we should be good. And unless it's an instruction manual or something that is necessary for them to use the product, I don't think. I mean, like we don't go out of way to change packaging.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just to give people some sense of size, I know you sort of mentioned this elsewhere, but in terms of revenue that the business is doing on the top line, what are you achieving now?
Sure. So last year we crossed $150 million on the reselling side, and uh, we crossed about $20 million on the brand side. Brands, when I say brand side, for us it means the companies that we acquired, and we are growing from that. And like, I mean, we certainly hope to do much better this year. So the companies that we acquired is going to grow, is expected to grow at much faster rate than our reselling operations, but that is the kind of volume we do
Yeah.
today.
Nice, yeah. And so with that, obviously, would come quite a bit of complexity. You mentioned millions of SKUs. Is that
Yes.
mainly driven by the reselling side, or are you stocking a lot of SKUs with your brands?
No, it is mostly reselling side, and those are the SKUs that we don't necessarily have ownership of it, because we are still bootstrapped and we want to uh, be very mindful about profit as well. So we don't just run down the price; we retain the price for wholesale for the brands online, and in a very similar fashion, we realize that it's in the best interest of vendor partners and us not to take the custody of all the inventory unless we have a specific plan for it. So we have a technology processes to sell the inventory without necessarily having to own it. And as long as vendor partners are working, willing to work with us, we have been able to pull that off quite easily.
Fantastic. You mentioned previously about the importance of data-driven decision making.
Correct.
That's obviously going to be very important for you with that many SKUs, that much revenue. Can you give the sellers that are listening some insight into, why data-driven decision making is so important, and maybe some real-world examples of how, upskilling in that area is going to help someone grow their business?
Absolutely. So, I always, since almost the foundation, I've always considered us as a software or technology company first. And so, technology is an essential part of everything we do, including data analysis and the one that helps us make the right decision. As they say, data is a new oil. And about decisions that we have made using data is almost all the critical decisions in the company, be it what I mean, uh, which I mean, let me walk you through the process that when we start when we sign up with the vendor partner, an existing brand, the first thing that we do is to put that their catalog through our in-house developed proprietary software, which will tell us that which inventory to invest and acquire and which inventory to work with vendor partner to sell it but not acquire. So right from that as to where we invest inventory, then the next portion, once we have inventory that where we have invested and or not invested, we use a smart game theory based in-house developed repricer to make sure that our prices are optimized to the market conditions. So that is also software plus data. And that then of course we spend our own money on the advertisement, developing brands that even we don't own, and that brand we have a in-house AI driven software which will kind of tell us that effective ways of advertising. Sometimes, just to share some of the numbers, Ben, we have been able to achieve 2 to 3% of ACOS in some of the cases, in rather vast majority of cases that we invest. So that way we are very, I mean, we are very data driven organization. We care where we spend our money, and but it helps brand as well. And obvious, I mean, once the brand starts growing, the next step is to I mean, if there is a time when we have to acquire the brand, that is also we create a internal use case on how we are going to grow the brand, and not only that, we present that case to the potential seller and we make them part of the process. That is, look, I mean, I have a huge respect for founder, and um, I would, I mean, we give them a plan. We explain them why we want, why our proposal looks the way it does, and then we find ways to continue to work together, because we don't want founder to leave the company after selling us, and we have been quite successful at that. So most of the key founders are still with us, working in different capacity, because we create a win-win situation for them based on our internal data analysis. So these are some of the instances when the decisions are based on what we know and predict rather than what we think and feel.
You mentioned about deciding whether to resell or to acquire. What are some of the decision-making factors you look at there to see a business that is as something that you would want to acquire?
Correct. So the first, when we start working with vendors, the first decision that we typically have to make is whether to resell the products, uh, acquire the inventory and resell, or do not acquire the inventory and resell. It's called direct to consumer type of a business model. So the consideration when we have to make a decision is typically we prefer a fast moving we typically prefer fast moving item, relatively small size, to be in our warehouse as a part of our inventory. So that is the first decision we make. And when it comes to acquisition of the whole business, including their existing customer, supply chain, B2B, everything, that is a different type of decision. Most of the time, I mean, we let our vendor partners know that we are in a market and open to acquisition of the business, but the um, first talk or the hint has to come from the vendor partner that, hey, can we talk about it? And that's when we go and talk, because we want them to sell business only when they are ready.
Perfect. Okay. And then in terms of inventory management, that must be quite a complex operation as well.
Correct.
I imagine your technology solutions are helping you a lot there.
Oh, absolutely. So, I'm sorry. Absolutely. So, technology is at the forefront of what we do, and managing. So, we have a software that actually processes millions of data points every single day in terms of price and quantity primarily, so that we know if price or the quantity at the vendor end changes, then we ensure that we update in our system. So we make lots of API EDI calls, and when I say lots, I really mean lots. And that is how we like the whole system works, because our cancellation rate has to be less than 2.5% as per Amazon and most other marketplace policy, and we work hard to ensure that we comply with that cancellation rate. So absolutely, our backbone is technology, and we use it quite a bit.
How does your inventory management operation differ from the brands that you own to the brands that you resell?
Oh, very thoughtful question. When I should say so, so the brands that we resell, we just have to make sure that sufficient inventory is available for us to with sufficient inventory is available for us to continue selling the item in one form or other. When it comes to when it comes to uh, sorry about that. When it comes to reselling, inventory, when it comes to brand that we own, we have to make sure that we account for the whole supply chain, including the production times, including transit time on the water. So we want to make sure that we do account for everything.
And are you using a custom technology for inventory management for the brands as well?
Correct. So absolutely. So we have to when it comes to our own when it comes to our own inventory, we have to be able to look at projected sell of anywhere from 90 to 180 days from today. When it comes to reselling part of the business, we are okay looking at the projection from 30 to 60 days from today.
Okay.
Or, yeah, so that's a
And
major difference.
at your scale, are you finding you're having to work with a lot of warehouses, 3PLs? What are you doing on that front? Or are you able to still send everything to Amazon?
No, that's a very thoughtful again. Yeah, so Amazon is one of our major 3PL that we work with because it gives customer prime shipping for free. So obviously, as much as we can use Amazon 3PL, great. Everything else, I mean, everything else is managed through 8 to 12 3PL relationships that we have around US across multiple warehouse. We have one of our own, but that's it. That's it. Just one relatively small warehouse, more of a shock absorber system of a last resort as and when we need it. But most of our business happens through 3PL beyond us and between Amazon and other professional 3PL.
So when you order stock from a supplier, do you typically get all of it sent to a 3PL and then drip fed into Amazon, or do you try and send some to Amazon, some to 3PL?
So typical, our preference would always be to send as much to Amazon as possible because it doesn't make sense to add an additional steps and additional hands touching the inventory in our opinion. We'd rather pay Amazon little bit more even if required to ship ability to ship almost everything to Amazon. So that is our preference because drip feeding is a concept that I mean, of course, we always have some part of our inventory into 3PL because we still have to serve other marketplaces like Walmart, Sears, and so on. So we don't necessarily, I mean, are out of inventory outside Amazon, but we don't hold inventory to drip feed to Amazon.
Are you? What about then when you? Sorry to grill you on this topic, but I know a lot of our listeners will be keen to understand how you're optimizing for this. When you ship to Amazon, I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, there's not very often where you're able to send everything into Amazon. So if your restock limits are not allowing you to send everything to Amazon, what is the optimal process? Is it splitting that shipment and sending some to Amazon, some to 3PL? Is it sending every other shipment to Amazon? Have you found any good fit there, or are you still testing that?
I think, I mean, well, I wish I had a better algorithm for that, but I think, see, I mean, as a reseller of a products, we how do I say it? How do we see? It's all case by case basis, in my opinion, because sometimes we buy quantities as little as just 100, and sometimes it's thousands. Okay, so when we have such a variation in the quantity that we can buy from a vendor, we would prefer to buy only as much as we are allowed as per the restock as the stocking limits, which by the way Amazon has removed as far as I know. And if it's our own inventory, we work with factories to sometimes send a mixed shipment to Amazon so that not like one container has multiple SKUs and sometimes even multiple brands. So that has helped us, but it's I think we haven't found a common answer or common thread that works yet.
Sure. Yeah, same. Okay, so Amazon then, you are obviously doing a lot of volume on Amazon. It's
Yes.
becoming more competitive over the years. It's a more mature marketplace. What are you doing, and what can other sellers do to continue to succeed on Amazon as it does, undoubtedly get more competitive?
I think Amazon is, I mean, to me, as my answer might be different tomorrow, but today I think listings and that too listing with the infographic is my most favorite way to optimize Amazon, because when you have a key points with the image, that image becomes far more effective at selling than images without infographic. So because so I'm a big fan of infographics lately, and of course, smart advertisement. I think, I mean, like it or not, Amazon loves minting money, obviously, and so advertisement has become a next opportunity field where the better performance marketer you have on staff, the better you are going to do. And we are fortunate to have a great team of performance marketers.
Fantastic. And then just to finish, what do you see for the future of e-commerce? There's lots changing right now, AI, trends, lots of things going on in the space. Amazon, again, a very mature marketplace. Things are going to be very interesting over the next few years. What do you see for the future of e-commerce? Any interesting trends that you're keeping an eye on?
Oh, I think at least at the visible horizon right now, I think AI is going to be a key driver of everything we do, including listings to images to infographics to pricing to how we sell it, where we sell it. I think a lot of it would become far more commoditized for everyone. So that would make competition a lot more intense. And I think this ability to uh, buy the product and make life better is not going to go anywhere. I think that is the nearest, like that is the most important trend I observe. I think anything with 3D printing is few decades away, so people are still not going to print what they need at home, and they will rely on factory made products. And I think efficiency with which it would be sold, presented on online, is going to be very important. At one point, live stock, like live selling, was like took off quite a bit, and maybe it is still going very well in Asia, but I'm not sure if it would be as effective in Western countries. So I don't see that to be a major trend going forward. But yes, AI and smart listing, smart money spent on advertisement is going to be the trend,
Yeah, yeah,
in my
definitely.
opinion.
So lots of opportunities still ahead.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Good. And what's the end goal for your company? Is it to keep acquiring brands and then sell the business one day, or you're just going to keep moving forwards and see what happens?
Right. So right now, our ambition is to build, like, I mean, create a house of brand. Ambition is to cross $1 billion top line with 10% profitability. So that's our goal in next few years. And after that, it's wherever market takes us. So we have few exit options on table now, and I'm sure we will have few more at that time. But right now we are focused on getting company to a top line that is a good rounded big number.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love it. Fantastic. Well, this has been very insightful, Rupesh. You obviously have got a lot of experience and know what you're talking about. So I do appreciate you taking time to come and share some thoughts and give some insight to your operation there. If people do want to find out more about you or connect with you in any way, is there any place you want to send them to do that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm very communicative and responsive, I should say. LinkedIn is one of the easiest and bestest way to find me. This is, I mean, Rupesh Sanghavi, running company Argot, should easily take viewer there. Other than that, if I'm allowed, I like my email address is also very simple. My first name at argodinc.com. So by like anyone can reach me by email as well as WhatsApp. I don't know if you use it, Ben, but that's another great mode of communication.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, one can reach me through that as well.
Great. Well, we'll leave the link to your LinkedIn in the show notes as well, so people can easily click through into that and connect with you there and take it further. And yeah, honestly, it's been super inspiring, and so I do genuinely appreciate you taking time out. Thanks for coming on the show today, Rupesh.
Oh, likewise, thank you very much for having me, Ben, and thanks for studying us so well and asking those intelligent questions. I really enjoy our conversation.
Good. Thank you. No, I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Good,
Have a good
good.
one.
Fantastic, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that conversation as much as I have. Do connect with Rupesh on LinkedIn in the show notes below, and we will see you in the next episode, same time next week. Take care.